Firefighters are on the scene of a house fire in northeast Calgary tonight. The blaze broke out in Rundle at about 3:45. The fire started in the back of a two-story home and spread quickly to an attached garage, sending up black smoke that could be seen from across the city. Two neighboring homes have also got some damage. Crews brought the fire under control, and EMS says no injuries are reported. Here's what else is making news tonight. Back in school Wednesday, but not how teachers wanted it to happen.
This is an assault on the rights of every Albertan.
Students also disappointed that overcrowding issues remain.
I had around 50 in my class at the same time.
Plus a very successful first step. The Forever Canadian movement collects 150,000 more signatures than it needed.
Put separatism to bed once and for all.
And Hurricane Melissa makes landfall in Jamaica.
Catastrophic wind damage expected in the eye wall here.
Family members watching from Calgary fear the worst.
It's our obligation to make sure that we support the rebuilding of Jamaica.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Tara Nelson.
Hello and thank you for joining us. Alberta teachers are heading back to school tomorrow after legislation was passed in the wee hours of the morning. The Premier says the strike was causing irreparable harm to students, families and teachers, and government had to act fast. However, the use of the notwithstanding clause to force teachers to return is being seen by many as an abuse of power. Stephanie Thomas explains.
The Back to School Act, or Bill 2, is official. All teachers on the public payroll are now forced to take a deal they had only weeks earlier largely rejected. Concerns over classroom conditions will carry on after the province used the most powerful legal tool at its disposal to end bargaining.
What is happening in the classroom cannot continue anymore. Doing things the proper way don't seem to be resonating with Premier Smith.
The UCP government invoked the notwithstanding clause when it legislated the end of the teacher strike. Using it acknowledges it contravenes charter rights, and it blocks the teachers' union from taking the province to court. In letters written to teachers and students, Premier Danielle Smith said government acted fast to stop further harm socially and academically.
Not only did she refuse to end this weeks ago using the powers she already had, she didn't even show up for the debate.
Smith did not stay in the legislature to see the bill's passing. Instead, she was photographed in the airport lounge in Calgary before a pre-planned visit to Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates to promote Alberta's energy and agricultural industries. Legal and political experts say the government's handling of the teacher strike is especially worrying for infringing on charter rights.
Rights that many Canadians would normally feel like they could rely on are more and more in question based on the will of the government in power.
Backlash is expected.
It's certainly possible that there would be such a public uproar, protests, there's talk of a general strike. That might be enough that the government might think better of it.
Although teachers will not defy the legislation, the Alberta Teachers Association says the fight isn't over.
We know that it's a tough hill to climb, but we're not afraid of climbing.
And Stephanie joins us from McLeod Trail at Southland Drive tonight, where teachers are rallying later this evening. So what more did leaders have to say about legal action?
Well, Tara, teachers say that they are prepared to use every legal avenue available to them to push back against the province, but that will be slow. Charter challenges can take years, but the union also says that the strike is indeed over. They will comply with the legislation, and that's because now, if they were to continue the strike, that would be illegal. In fact, any teacher who refuses to return to the classroom could be fined $500 per day, and the union could face a fine of $500,000 for defying the legislation. Now, Tara, we also know that lots of public sector unions are watching this unfolding very closely, and we know that leaders of many unions met today, and we expect to have an announcement tomorrow. Tara?
Hey, Stephanie, thank you. Now, this decision by the government is creating waves of reaction, of course, from students and teachers. Jacqueline Wilson joins us with more on that. So, Jackie, what are you hearing from them today?
Yes, Tara, I'm certainly hearing lots of reactions from students and teachers ahead of them returning to those classrooms tomorrow. And that's about 12,000 Calgary teachers, and over 200,000 Calgary students. They are all impacted by this. And when I was speaking with them today, they were expressing their frustration. They said they were all really disappointed with just how things ended up going, and they question what the future of education will look like in our province.
For this to get as far as it's gone is just devastating.
Teacher Lindsay Dell isn't mincing words ahead of being forced back to class on Wednesday.
Awful. I mean, we knew it was not great in the schools, and we knew that students were not getting what they needed and that teachers were burnt out. And so to have that recognized and then be like, just go back anyways, I don't know how people are going to do that.
Many students and teachers agree class sizes weren't addressed and worry the problem will persist.
I had around 50 in my class at the same time. When I was walking around in the classroom, I found it really hard not to bump into other students, even when they were sitting down. I have to avoid desks and chairs and backpacks just to get up to the desk and ask a teacher a question.
Willow Roche plans to join fellow students walking out of school on Thursday morning. Several other high schools are planning a similar protest.
I feel like classes starting tomorrow is a violation of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms for teachers because they went on strike so that they could get stuff done, and the government is just shutting down their strike and forcing them back to work.
Meanwhile, students at the Workland School of Education at U Calgary are jumping back into their practicums. The school says students will not be delayed and will graduate on time.
I'm feeling a little bit nervous. I'm excited to, of course, be going back into schools because before we were told that it may not happen, and now that we're going back, it is exciting, but it's also a little bit nerve-wracking because we're heading into a bit of uncharted territory.
One labor relations expert says forcing the teachers back to work doesn't resolve issues in the classroom.
The government has created huge problems in terms of recruitment and retention. If I were, a recent graduate out of an education program, and thinking about, starting a career as a teacher, I would be really seriously second guessing whether I wanted to do it in Alberta.
Jacqueline Wilson, CTV News, Calgary.
Now, it has yet to be determined which, if any, extracurricular activities will resume immediately. Those decisions will be made by individual school boards or, in some cases, by individual schools. Hurricane Melissa roared ashore in Jamaica today. It was a direct hit, the most powerful storm on the planet this year. Officials are using words like potentially catastrophic to describe it. CTV's Joy Malbin has the latest.
With winds whipping up and rain washing over bridges, it's no time to be outside as Hurricane Melissa slams Jamaica.
Hurricanes sound horrible outside. It just sounds as if somebody's pouring buckets and buckets of water.
Take a look at this video from U.S. Air Force hurricane hunters, a menacing monster eye of the most powerful storm on the planet. Already packing ferocious winds of 295 kilometers an hour, and with all the rain, power is out to about a third of the island.
It's going to be a very dangerous scenario is now starting to play out in the next few hours. Catastrophic wind damage expected in the eye wall here, total building failures.
Some 6,000 people evacuated to shelters, and with airports closed, thousands of tourists are stranded, including Canadians like Alex Green, hunkering down at a resort.
Oh, I feel well safe in my resort. I've been told they have a generator and a backup generator and a backup generator for the backup generator.
As Hurricane Melissa slices through the island, it has already claimed lives. Authorities warn of utter devastation to farming and structural damage, and all they can do is wait it out.
As the eye get closer, we are expecting that to intensify. As predicted, there will be extensive damage beyond our imagination.
Now, here in Calgary, many in the Jamaican community are holding their breath for loved ones back home. That storm is having a major impact on people here. Tyson Fedor is at the airport tonight. And Tyson, flights were canceled to the island nation today.
Tara, WestJet canceling its direct route to Montego Bay earlier this morning. That flight was expected to land here in Calgary around 10 a.m. this morning. It was canceled. The flight out later tonight also canceled, and the airline is now warning passengers to check the status of their flight before arriving here at the airport. Now, Calgary's Jamaican community is setting up fundraising efforts across the city to help victims of this hurricane on the island and hoping to help their families as well once this storm passes.
Melissa made landfall in Jamaica as a Category 5 hurricane. As it passed through the island nation, it was downgraded to Category 4. It is one of the most powerful hurricanes recorded in the Atlantic Basin.
This is going to be the hardest hit that they've seen since Hurricane Gilbert.
Kamal Gordon was in Jamaica with family just 2 weeks ago. He says the weather was wet and windy, far from the usual sunshine. Gordon hopes his family will be okay.
I'm being optimistic. I'm being positive about everything that's going on. I'm standing beside my mom, who's currently there, my siblings who's still back home, making sure that I can hear from them, making sure that I can support them in any way possible that I possibly can.
Jamaican Canadian Association of Alberta says the community is staying strong for loved ones.
It's been sleepless nights for some of us because we are constantly in contact with members of our families.
The island is expected to suffer extensive damage from flooding and landslides. Staff at Crazy Jerk Jamaican Restaurant want to help the victims with rebuilding efforts.
It's our obligation to make sure that we support to rebuild the rebuilding of Jamaica. And as our initiatives, we're currently, for the month of November, we will be donating 5% of our sales. We'll also be setting up a donation box over there in the corner.
And this weekend, a pre-planned dinner and dance at the association will be used as a fundraiser.
They're having what is called a 1 in a million youth sunset dance. However, we have had to pivot. We've had to make some changes and to add the fundraising event for hurricane relief.
Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Calgary.
Let's bring Danielle on this. You've been keeping your eye on this afternoon. So it's actually, the storm, as massive as it is, has just in a little while been downgraded again.
Yeah, and this will be a roller coaster ride with this system because this hurricane has just been downgraded to a 3. But as these waters are so warm, unusually warm, that it will re-intensify really quickly once again to a 4 by the time it gets to Cuba. So overnight tonight, re-intensifying overnight tonight is when it will make landfall in Cuba. And then it will start to, as it reaches American waters, 2 is what it will be downgraded to. And on Friday, Halloween Friday, is when it should reach Canadian waters as a Hurricane 1. So it'll be something to watch, absolutely. This is quite a system here, this hurricane. So a lot of damage, and the landscape will be nowhere near what it was before this hit in Jamaica and Cuba. All right, let's talk about here, because while we obviously don't have hurricane force winds, we certainly have strong winds to talk about in our forecast here. There's a wind warning in place for Pincher Creek, Crozes Pass. Tomorrow we're looking at 100-kilometer-per-hour gusts. And in Calgary, it will be a fairly windy day as well, 50 to 60 kilometers per hour, even in the morning hours. Sunshine in the afternoon. We should get to a high of 13. More details on your full forecast coming up, Tara.
Thank you, Danielle. More than 456,000 Albertans have aligned themselves with the Forever Canadian movement. A successful citizen-led petition was handed over to Elections Alberta today, opposing the idea of Alberta separating from Canada. Volunteers smashed the threshold needed, but will it be enough to quiet a vocal separatist movement? Alicia Fieldberg reports.
Well, there are clearly some Albertans who want the province to separate from Canada. There are others who passionately disagree. For 3 months, former Deputy Premier Thomas Lukaszuk and thousands of volunteers collected signatures for a petition asking, "Do you agree that Alberta should remain within Canada?" They needed 294,000 signatures, but completed the petition with over 456,000.
We're asking the Premier to do the right thing and ask Alberta MLAs to vote on this issue and put separatism to bed once and for all.
Signatures on the petition need to be verified by Elections Alberta over the next 60 days. This is the first citizen-led petition it's received, and now it will get to work.
So we've hired just over 100 Albertans to help us with this process.
Premier Daniel Smith's government has urged Alberta to stay in Confederation, but also made it easier for groups to hold a referendum by reducing the number of required signatures. Alberta Prosperity Project wants to leave Confederation and is asking, do you agree that the province of Alberta shall become a sovereign country and cease to be a province in Canada?
I mean, we want to have a referendum on independence, right? I mean, we want Alberta out of Canada. We think Canada
is a rotting corpse of a country that we're chained to, and we need to get away from Canada before it kills us. Right?
Elections Alberta asked court to review whether the question conflicts with the Constitution. If approved, separation proponents would need to collect 177,000 signatures in 4 months. Lukasik chose to start his petition before that threshold was lowered and still surpassed it.
This gave the not-so-vocal many a way to speak up.
If the petition is certified, they may vote on it in the legislature or have Albertans vote on it instead in a referendum.
In Alberta, we've got a lot of very well-organized, focused, mobilized people that sort of have outsized influence. And so organization will be critical if it does go to a referendum question.
And Alicia joins us from Southwest Calgary tonight. So Alicia, tell us more about the work now to verify the petition.
Well, tomorrow's when Elections Alberta will start looking over every name on that petition and start contacting some of those people. So anyone who signed the petition from now until December 27th might be getting a phone call or an email to verify. Now, moving on to the next step, if this petition does get certified, then it would have to go to a legislative committee, which would then have up to 90 days to table a report. At that point, either the Premier and MLAs could decide to vote on this, or they could choose to put it to Albertans in a referendum. Now, if it does get to that stage, Tara, there is no timeline set on when that would have to happen.
Okay, Alicia, thank you. After a recount, Jeremy Farkas remains mayor-elect of Calgary. Second-place finisher Sonia Sharp made the request for a recount after Farkas won the election by 581 votes. The resulting recount saw him gain a few more votes over Sharp. In a statement, Farkas says he has reached out to Sonia Sharp to congratulate her on a strong campaign. Farkas and the rest of the new council will be sworn in tomorrow. The province says it's putting the slogan "strong and free" on Alberta license plates. But a New Brunswick businesswoman says she owns the trademark for it and has for years. So what happens now? Plus, neighbors band together to help a family whose home was damaged by fireworks. We're back in about 1 minute. There could be a trademark issue with Alberta's new license plate slogan. The province recently announced it would be replacing Wild Rose Country with Strong and Free. But as Nicole Weisberg reports, a New Brunswick woman has owned the trademark for that term for nearly 20 years.
New Brunswicker Denise Dow is a proud Canadian. So much so, 18 years ago, she decided to tie her livelihood to it, trademarking the phrase "strong and free," heard in the national anthem, for merchandise use.
I establish relationships with Canadian manufacturers, as you'll see on my webpage. There's half a dozen there. And they all provide the product, sell the product, and they pay me a royalty for the use of the logos.
Dow says those products can be found in duty-free stores across Canada and retailers such as Canadian Tire and Walmart. She says last week, people familiar with her brand began reaching out to tell her about the Alberta government's license plate plans.
I talked to my trademark office, and the best case scenario is that we come to an agreement.
Details of Dow's trademark include license plates of metal, so she believes charging a nominal fee is reasonable and has an idea of directing some money to an Alberta charity.
I'm not looking for a battle. I want it to be a win-win.
We've spoken to our lawyers about it. There's no copyright infringement. Let's be clear. This is the Alberta motto. It's on our crest. Alberta, strong and free.
While the Service Alberta minister insists there is no issue, this trademark lawyer says it could be argued in court.
You know, even a public body like the provincial government can infringe a private trademark.
However, Robert Nissen says the government could make a number of arguments. The number one, he says, would be saying this is ornamental use instead of trademark use.
You can only buy them from a registry, from essentially agents of the government. And so it's not like you would pick a license plate because it says strong and free.
In that case, he says Dow could argue this depreciates the value of her brand. She hopes it doesn't come to that.
I just believe that, they would do the right thing.
Nicole Weisberg, CTV News, Edmonton.
In Edmonton, there is a community effort underway after a fireworks explosion badly damaged a home last week. The family's car was torched by flames and the neighboring house was also damaged. The cost of the damage is expected to be around $175,000. For now, the family has no place to go. A fundraising campaign has raised more than $12,000 so far.
You know, donations range from like $10 and to $100 and and one gentleman, I'm going to try to locate him. He donated $500 to my family. I don't know what to say to that. I just kept for thank you from the bottom of our hearts. That's all I can say.
It could be 6 months before the family is allowed to move back in.
This is CTV News Calgary.
Let's bring Danielle back in now as we look ahead to our 5-day forecast. Kind of a cooler week.
Yeah, a cooler week, especially compared to last week where we were almost record-breaking with our high of 20 on Friday. As you can see, these temperatures are nowhere near 20, and you feel it for sure. But at least today, the winds were calm. So, and the sun was out for part of the day as well. And we got to a high of 8 in the city. So we're now dipping for the day. 5 degrees is the current temperature in the city. Rocky Mountain House, just 3 in Banff. And those lower single digits, Brooks, Lethbridge, over to Milk River at this point. We will climb in temperature, and we will start to climb tonight because the winds are going to start to pick up tonight. They've been predominantly out of the south and southeast for today, and they'll start to switch and come out of the west. We really had our maximum wind gust today at 35 kilometers per hour. That's nothing. Lethbridge 35 kilometers per hour and closer to 50 in Pincher Creek. This area will excel up to potentially 100 kilometers per hour for tomorrow. And Calgary over to Lethbridge, you're looking at 50 to 60. So the winds will intensify tomorrow. This is why we do have the wind warning in place for Crow's Nest Pass over to Pincher Creek, Fort Macleod, down through Cardston. Lethbridge is not under this warning, but Lethbridge could get up to 80 kilometers per hour. So outside of the warning criteria, but certainly very gusty for tomorrow. And again, these areas in the purple here under the wind warning because 100 kilometer per hour gusts are possible tomorrow, and it could even pick up to 80 just tonight. Now, because this will be out of the west, this will our temperatures will actually increase while we're sleeping tonight. So we're not looking at a cold morning tomorrow, but certainly a windy morning as this system comes in. So basically the mountains will keep a lot of that moisture off to the west and off to the north. We're going to get the cloud cover for the morning hours and the wind from that. We will have a little bit of spillover into Crow's Nest Pass, Pincher Creek tomorrow. This is in the morning, so showers possible. And then as you can see, north of Edmonton, you're looking at rain, freezing rain and snow. So they're going to be dealing with that there. We're going to be dealing with the wind in southern Alberta. And then this clears out for Thursday. Thursday, mainly sunny skies and the winds will start to calm down. All right, here's your Action Furnace 5-day forecast. 13 degrees for tomorrow again in the city of Calgary, 50 kilometer per hour gusts, potentially up to 60 for tomorrow. Mainly cloudy in the morning, clearing out, and so sunshine for the afternoon. Thursday, a high of 8, and at this point for Friday, Halloween day, you are looking at 7 degrees as a daytime high. Mainly cloudy skies and a small chance of showers in the afternoon hours. But of course, I will continue to keep you posted as we get closer to Halloween. Tara.
Thanks, Danielle. An event to broaden understanding of First Nations and the justice system is taking place in our area. The event will examine the overrepresentation of Indigenous people in the justice system and how to divert, when possible, to alternative justice. Police also want Indigenous people to feel safe and represented while accessing the justice system. Police, government officials, not-for-profits, and community members will share ideas. The Satina Police Chief says people can become lost when dealing with police, lawyers, and courts.
With the help of these speakers, we're hoping to achieve a common understanding. And it's not about systems change this conference, it's really about perspectives change for the individual to create that village amongst all of us as justice professionals.
The conference is set to run for 2 days. Canada's young job seekers are facing a tough market and record rejections. The youth unemployment rate is soaring, so will the feds offer some relief in the upcoming budget? And skyrocketing chocolate prices may impact trick-or-treaters. Some Canadians say they're changing it up to keep some change in their pocket. A pressing issue expected to be addressed in the upcoming federal budget is jobs. Young Canadians are struggling to find themselves work, even in minimum wage paying positions. CTV's Kathy Lee has more on the struggles of job seekers and the help that might be on the way.
I've been rejected at Superstore twice.
It's a small but sharp blow to her confidence. Rejection message after rejection message. The sting lingers.
I'd go there in person, I'd write cover letters, talk to the hiring manager, and nothing.
16-year-old Alexandra D. has submitted close to 100 applications this year and only recently landed something.
It's really hard to get a minimum wage job.
Jaden White knows the struggle too well. He went months without a stable job.
It's definitely discouraging. You kind of feel that you're not going to have a future in this country.
And after applying for hundreds of entry-level positions, no luck for this post-secondary student.
The best way I could just do is just hold on to hope, keep applying for jobs.
According to Statistics Canada, the youth unemployment rate was 15% in September. Excluding the pandemic years, that's the highest rate since 2010.
It's harder for new job seekers to find work. Young people are especially vulnerable to that, environment where firms aren't necessarily hiring new workers.
The number of positions that firms are trying to fill down 15% compared to last year.
The market's just becoming more and more saturated. Applications are coming in fast and furiously for every position.
In a statement, the Federal Jobs and Families Ministry says it has a plan that includes generating and protecting hundreds of thousands of jobs, connecting Canadians to opportunities faster, and upskill and train workers. With the federal budget nearing, Brody Gomez is counting on support.
It's finding solutions that align with not only Canadians, but also businesses.
For Alexandra, she's off the job hunt hamster wheel for now.
I'm definitely relieved.
And hopes the process is a bit easier the next time. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
Still to come, this could be quite a legacy. How would you like a Canadian town named after you? It's possible, for a price. Those details are next. Halloween is just days away now, and kids will be looking to stock up on candy, chips, and chocolate. However, the latter may be tough to come by with soaring cocoa prices. As Tyler Barrow explains, some who are handing out treats are holding off on the chocolate.
While shopping for trick-or-treats, Ann Gehring quickly noticed a scary trend.
Chocolate is too expensive, and I understand that the packaging is even smaller.
Which is why kids coming to her house will get chips instead. And she's not wrong. According to the Dalhousie University's Halloween treat cost report, many chocolate bars have increased in price by 15% compared to 2024. The report also highlights Canadian households are spending 10 to 20% more on Halloween candy, likely going unnoticed.
In the last few years, we saw candy sizes shrink, but also there are fewer candies per box. I think we've actually reached peak shrinkflation.
Charlotte Boss says this is driven by cocoa costs around 4 times the 5-year average. Ghana and the Ivory Coast produce 3/4 of the world's cocoa beans.
Both of them have actually experienced some growing challenges over the last few years.
He also points to demand increasing in Asia by a growing middle class. Kochu Chocolatier in the East Village offers a variety of Halloween chocolate. It's feeling the impacts of surging chocolate prices. Ahead of the candy-filled festivity, it is trying not to spook people away by absorbing costs.
Over the last 2 to 3 years, our prices have gone up more than 10%, but probably not more than 20%. We've really tried to hold that back.
For those handing out trick-or-treats, some are joining the old Dutch bunch. Others, well, kids will be able to rely on for chocolate.
Chocolate isn't something that we're willing to go without, and especially at Halloween.
Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Calgary.
I wouldn't have complained about getting chips as a kid.
Nope.
No, I love chocolate,
just
but
fine.
chips are a
Thank
good
you.
treat too.
Yep.
Yeah.
It all works.
Yeah. All right, let's see what's trending. A cat who got lost at a hotel while his owner was traveling from New York to Texas is finally on his way home.
Bye, Eddie. Bye, Brian.
Wait till you hear this. Eddie has his own personal chaperone. He is being driven to his home in Texas by a Humane Society member in New York. The shelter says they were blown away by the response from the community, succeeding their fundraising goal to help reunite Big Eddie with his owner tomorroard. Wow,
I'm not sure he was all that happy when he was meowing away there.
You can't stuff a cat in a crate. That is hard.
Yeah.
Hard, yes. Well, babies usually stop crying for many reasons. Maybe food, toys, they need change. This baby, however, will only stop for something specific.
You can rely
on the old man's money. You can rely on the old man's money.
A foot rub. A foot rub is what this princess wants. Big Brother knows exactly what to do. The foot is shoved in his face in the car, and he knows if he wants to stop the baby from crying, he's got to give a little massage.
Well, that's a good Big Brother,
That
right?
is a good brother.
Also learning great husband qualities.
That's right.
Right
That's
there.
what everybody needs to know.
Is that what my wife was looking for?
Well, if you've ever dreamed about having a town named after you, this is your chance. A community in Saskatchewan is putting the town name up for grabs. It will cost you $10 million.
Whoa.
Their name would be on GPS. Their name would be on the weather network. Their name would be on all the signage and on all the maps. And that's not just in Saskatchewan, that's worldwide.
I don't know. Is it worth it? This is a Canadian first. The town of Duck Lake is putting its name up for sale. The town, about 90 kilometers northeast of Saskatoon, it's inviting corporations or very rich people to bid for the naming rights to the community. There's about 600 people who live there. The mayor says the goal is to breathe new life into the historic community by funding some much-needed upgrades to roads and infrastructure.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Campbelltown. Could be Campbelltown.
Like Campbelltown.
Yeah, see, that sounds good.
Inuit, huh?
Do you get a free stay there, too, every time?
You must.
You would have
You
to.
must.
Sure.
Yes. A couple of Canadian companies are working to build nuclear reactors, and the deal involves a partnership with the U.S. government. We have the details in our business report.
All right, Skywatch weather camera. Yep, we've had some cloud cover push in. That cloud cover will stick around for tomorrow morning. The winds will be a story here. That will be the main story for us tomorrow. Speaking of winds, let's talk about Hurricane Melissa really quick. It's been downgraded to a very intense 3. So we're at level 3 at this point, but it's going to intensify as it hits these warm waters and as it moves into Cuba tonight to a 4. Interesting thing, though, is if you look at the longer range forecast for this, in American waters, a 2, and then as it starts to reach Canadian waters, it'll be a category 1. So it'll be interesting to see what it does to coastal sections of Nova Scotia and Newfoundland Friday night, Halloween night into Saturday. So we'll keep our eye on that for you and keep you posted. At this point, yes, we have the clouds that have pushed in. Red Deer is about to have some rainfall push in. Wind warning in place for Crozes past Pincher Creek over to Fort Macleod. These areas looking at 100-kilometer-per-hour gusts for tomorrow and even kicking up to 80 for tonight alone. Now for us in Calgary, we're looking at 50-kilometer-per-hour gusts for tomorrow. That will drag us up to a 13 in the afternoon, though. So it will be warmer, but it will certainly be windy. That's your 24-hour forecast, brought to you by Action Furnace. Fix right or it's free. Tara?
Thank you, Danielle. Tens of thousands of teachers and hundreds of thousands of students are preparing to go back to school in the morning. The teachers union is not planning to defy the government's back to work order, but legal challenges and action by other unions are possible. 450,000 signatures are on the citizen-led petition calling for a referendum asking, do you agree that Alberta should remain in Canada? Elections Alberta is now verifying the petition. And a home in Rundle is heavily damaged after fire broke out this afternoon. No injuries have been reported and the cause is under investigation. Fraud and cybercrime cost Canadians more than $630 million last year in various scams, and many of the victims are seniors. A couple contacted CTV News to say what started with a pop-up on their computer screen ended with them losing their life savings. Here's Pat Foran.
In Brantford, a couple were living their lives and enjoying their retirement, but in March, while using their computer, a warning popped up.
I couldn't get rid of it. I tried Control-Alt-Delete, and it wouldn't go away. It wouldn't turn off.
The man and woman, both in their 70s, asked us not to identify them as they're still coping with losing their entire life savings. When they called the number on the screen, they were told their accounts had been hacked, and it appeared he was involved in criminal activity.
My SIN number had been compromised and was being used for money laundering by a criminal organization that was involved in child pornography, human trafficking, and drugs.
They were told their money in the bank was at risk of being stolen and they needed to get it out to protect it. After 2 months of grooming the couple with daily calls, they told them to take their money out by purchasing gold bars and to put some in a Bitcoin machine. They purchased $900,000 in gold and over $100,000 in Bitcoin. The criminals said they would hold on to the money to keep it safe and give it back when the investigation was complete. Despite warnings from their bank, they still went through with it.
But our financial advisor warned us.
Yeah.
She said, oh, this sort of sounds like fraud.
Eventually, when they had no more money to give, the scammers cut off all contact with them. That's when they realized they'd been duped.
Oh, we're devastated. It sounds very foolish that somebody would do something like this, but it was the trust that was built up over 5 months.
Every day, Canadians are losing their life savings.
The Canadian Association of Retired Persons, CARP, says banks need to do more to protect vulnerable seniors from scams.
Canadian banks should be doing more beyond education, but really setting up the infrastructure to protect seniors.
The couple says they're now financially ruined, and the chance of recovering any of the funds is almost zero.
It was money that we invested over our lives. It was money that we inherited. It was money from the sale of our house. It was
money we were going to leave our son.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
2 Canadian companies will partner with the U.S. to build nuclear reactors. BNN Bloomberg's Marla Fernandez has more on that.
Cameco mines uranium, and with Brookfield Asset Management, it will work with Washington to build the large reactors. The U.S. will help arrange $80 billion worth of financing and handle approvals. The AI build-out demands an enormous amount of energy. The U.S., like Canada and others, is looking for ways to feed that demand. Cameco shares spiked more than 25% today on news of the agreement. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to 71.75. West Texas Intermediate crude is down more than $1 to 60.15. Western Canadian Select is down slightly to 48.60, and the TSX gained 143 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Negotiations are set to resume in the Canada Post strike. The Crown Corporation and the union, representing 55,000 workers, both say there are plans to meet later this week with a mediator, but no specific date has been set. The two sides haven't talked since Canada Post tabled an updated offer on October 3rd. Canada Post says it's also laying off dozens of managers as it looks to cut costs. Amazon confirms it's reducing corporate staff by 14,000, not the 30,000 first reported yesterday. The online retailer is increasing spending on AI while trimming costs elsewhere. Most of the affected employees will be given 90 days to look for a new position internally. Amazon has about 350,000 corporate workers. And Apple is now worth $4 trillion. The company's stock tumbled earlier this year as it navigated a myriad of challenges, but Apple's rebound can be taken as a sign the iPhone is still enough to excite consumers and Wall Street. The new record for the company comes in a blockbuster year for technology stocks as the AI frenzy has sent tech giants soaring to new heights. The Flames took on the Leafs in Toronto this afternoon. Glenn joins us with the highlights. That's next. Because of the World Series, the Toronto Maple Leafs have moved up the start times of all of their home games. Glenn is back with us. So, Glenn, that means tonight's game against the Flames was moved up.
Tara, Flames and Leafs, 4 o'clock our time this afternoon. The Flames trying to run their winning streak to 2 games. Leafs trying to find a little more consistency. Flames open up the scoring early in the first. Lazem Kadri, Jonathan Hubert over to Morgan Frost. He bears it past Anthony Stolarz. Second on the season, 1-0 for the Flames. The Leafs draw even in the second, 2-on-1. Max Domi decides to shoot this one himself, rips it past Wolf. That makes it a 1-1 game. The Flames regain the lead late in the second. Joel Farabee drives to the net, and he's going to sneak it past Stolarz. Farabee has been snake-bitten all year long. You had to feel good for him, but the Leafs get back even. 34 seconds left in the period. Michael Backlund gets stripped of the puck. Matthew Nyes gets it, and he'll beat Wolf 2-2 after 2. The Leafs take their first lead of the game in the third. We're in the power play. Wolf gets the initial save, but then he's taken out of the play. Flames can't clear in front. Nyes scores his second of the game to put the Leafs up 3-2. All right. 5 minutes left in the game. The Leafs leave Sam Honzik all alone in front, and he's going to beat Stolars. That's his first goal in the NHL. Kid's had so many chances. Great to see him convert. We're tied at 3, but that celebration did not last long. A couple of minutes left in the game. Flames can't clear. Leafs get control. Domi fires it past Wolf. Second of the game. Turned out to be the game winner. The Leafs take down the Flames 4-3. Flames have 3 more games on this trip. They're in Ottawa Thursday night, then face Nashville and Philadelphia back-to-back Saturday and Sunday. One of the best rivalries in the Canadian Premier League heats up this weekend. Cavalry FC travels to Hamilton to take on Forge. The winner goes on to Ottawa to play in the final. Some players are just built for the playoffs. The bigger the game, the better they get. For Cavalry FC, that player is Tobias Warchewski. The big German forward continued his productive ways in the postseason, notching a pair of goals against York United and helping lift Cavalry in the semi-final against Forge. Warchewski says he loves to score goals.
I like it, of course, scoring a goal, it's every time if it hits the back of the net, it's a great feeling, you know, and yeah, looking forward to it. We're confident in ourselves and I don't know what it is really, but I just enjoy the big games.
Cavalry and Forge will face each other in another big game on Sunday afternoon. The rivalry between these two teams is one of the best in the CPL. From the very beginning, these two teams didn't like each other.
Yeah, listen, definitely. There's no love lost between us come Christmas time, but I think it's because we played big games over and over against each other. And I said sometimes there's brilliance in them, sometimes there's chaos. But I think between us there's a mutual respect that we bring the best and worst out of each other. And I think that's what, if you're going to go and lift the trophy, you've got to go through a hard road, and that's the road that lays ahead of us.
Forge finished first in the Canadian Premier League with a 16-10-2 record and lifted the Canadian Shield. But Cavalry played them tough in the regular season. Both teams won a game, and they had 2 draws. Cavalry thinks they're peaking at just the right time.
It's good. Right now we're in a good space. Everyone believes in the plan, in the goal, and when you have this, we could do anything. Like Toby said, confidence, belief. If we come with our confidence and belief in ourselves, we will win any game.
Kickoff for Sunday's game, 2 o'clock Mountain Time. Game 3 World Series Jays and the LA Dodgers. Vladimir Guerrero just hit a home run, 2-1 for the Jays. We were just talking. Hopefully it's not going to last as long as last night's game. 18 innings. That was crazy.
Canadians don't have it in them to stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning again.
I made it through 16 innings and said, I thought I'd get up in the morning and still be watching the game.
Yeah, that was late.
I did the whole thing. That's a lot on the heartstrings for a very long time.
Good for you.
They need to just beat them earlier. The Jays need to beat the Dodgers.
There you go.
You get my point. Okay. 13 is our high for tomorrow. So a little warmer tomorrow, but that comes with strong winds, 50 to 60 kilometers per hour for the city. And then south of the city, up to 100 kilometers per hour. So it's a windy day for southern Alberta tomorrow. Sunshine and 8 for Thursday. Halloween day at this point, 7. Mainly cloudy, small chance of showers in the afternoon hours. Weather window brought to you by Lux Windows and Doors. Crafting quality windows and doors for your style, budget, and Alberta's climate. The Shandruck family sent this in from the Bow Tower.
Thanks for your company tonight. Have a terrific evening. We'll see you again tomorrow.